Fictional villains often give us some of the deepest insights into the human condition. Writers are freed to venture outside the bounds of what they think is civil society and explore new modes of thinking that may or may not, in fact, be malevolent. In doing so, they sometimes purposefully or inadvertently stumble across uncomfortable truths that the layperson would recoil from in horror. One of the greatest metaphors for our current way of life came in the creation of Bane's monologue to Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Rises, after Bane captures and imprisons him in a place known only as the Pit.
There's a reason why this prison is the worst hell on earth. Hope. Every man who was rotted here over the centuries has looked up to the light and imagined climbing to freedom. So easy, so simple, and like shipwrecked men turning to seawater from uncontrollable thirst. Many have died trying, and learned here that there can be no true despair without hope. So, as I terrorize Gotham, I will feed its people hope to poison their souls. I will let them believe that they can survive so that you can watch them clambering over each other to stay in the sun. You could watch me torture an entire city, and then when you truly understood the depth of your failure, we will fulfill Ra's al Ghul's destiny. We will destroy Gotham, and then, when it is done, and Gotham is ashes, then you have my permission to die.
This one speech reveals the face of true evil, a thing that delights in the suffering and absolute demoralization of its victims. Here Bane is a representation of the deep state, the true ruling force of our world, existing beyond all bounds of morality, law, and order. Batman is the free-thinking rebel, enjoying the same philosophical freedom as Bane, but committed to a life of principles and justice. The people of Gotham City represent the citizenry of planet Earth, over whom absolute dominion is being sought, the power of life and death itself. Bane makes it clear that before he will grant Bruce death, he intends on tormenting the people of Gotham with a lie, the hope that they can avoid the fate he has planned for them if they commit themselves to the twisted game he's laid before them. In the real world, this game is playing out in the halls of every government in existence. It is a sick game, one that teases people with the promise of a utopian future, if only they would unconditionally surrender to the state's present demands. It has never been any other way. Anarchists did not try to carry out genocide against the Armenians in Turkey. They did not deliberately starve to death millions of Ukrainians. They did not create a system of death camps to kill millions of Gypsies and Slavs in Europe. They did not firebomb scores of large German and Japanese cities and drop nuclear bombs on 2 of them. They did not carry out a great leap forward that killed scores of millions of Chinese people. They did not kill more than 500,000 members of the Indonesian Communist Party, alleged party sympathizers and others. They did not attempt to kill everybody with appreciable education in Cambodia, murdering 1/4 of the country's population. They did not kill as many as 200,000 Mayan peasants and others in Guatemala. They did not kill more than 500,000 Tutsis and pro-peace Hutus in Rwanda. They did not implement US and allied trade sanctions that killed perhaps 500,000 Iraqi children. They did not launch one aggressive US war after another. In debates between anarchists and statists, the burden of proof clearly should rest with those who place their trust in the state. Anarchy's mayhem is wholly conjectural. The state's mayhem is undeniably, factually horrendous. Those who would try to convince you of a need, utilitarian or otherwise, of a state don't have a moral leg to stand on, nor a fiber of integrity in their body. With every breath they hubristically declare their own virtue and silence their critics by force and graft. If you are ever to enjoy any measure of true liberty, you must reject wholesale the notion that any person or group can dare make, let alone enforce, so-called law. In China, Mao was elevated to the level of godhead, portrayed as the rising sun and savior of the Chinese people. No amount of ceremony or paperwork can sanctify the edicts, pronouncement, or laws of any state. No amount of people who agree with his forceful actions against non-violent people can ever overturn universal morality and natural law. And if either of those two concepts are unfamiliar to you, you just may be one of those demoralized people being manipulated like Gothamites. No matter what happened with Bane's game, Gotham is destroyed. Similarly, whichever political party takes power, you remain under the boot of those who would see you dead in the pursuit of their agendas. The only recourse is rebellion. I speak not of revolution, which only seeks to violently replace the state with another of a different character. A rebel has no need for a master and triumphs when he realizes just how dependent the state is on his ongoing subservience. The state's parasitic dependence on its host citizenry is its Achilles heel. Citizens are the geese laying golden eggs, and the state is careful not to destroy them all. Just enough to keep those that remain living in silent, obedient awe and terror. Control over the issuance of currency and taxes are its lifeblood. Fortunately for you, their greatest power is also yours. You need only to understand how to use it. In doing so, you can topple empires without firing a single shot. Without tax revenues, the state is forced to resort to inflation, the printing of currency, to fund its bloated bureaucracies and military. Then, in very short order, the value of treasuries and currency itself will collapse. Without any means of paying for the obedience of its underlings and enforcers, you will see just how powerful they truly were. With politicians and bureaucrats exposed as nothing more than screeching harpies, the mobs of disaffected true believers will take care of the rest. Nothing I say here is new, nor should any of it shock anyone properly educated in human history. We are living through yet another mass murder and economic genocide, with all states now marching in lockstep towards the complete annihilation of civil society. Those who point this out are deplatformed, have their livelihoods taken away, and shut out of society. The perpetrators take no pause, nor show any signs of remorse for their destructive acts. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is coming when there will be two great classes, socialists and anarchists. The anarchists want the government to be nothing, and the socialists want the government to be everything. There can be no greater contrast. Well, the time will come when there will only be these two great parties, the anarchists representing the laissez-faire doctrine, and the socialists representing the extreme view on the other side, and when that time comes, I am an anarchist. There never was any chance of bending the system of domination towards virtuous ends. The state has always been the incarnation of pure violence. Indeed, many philosophers and legal scholars define it as such. You must resolve to not feed this monster with the fruits of your labor, and evade every attempt it makes to seize your money and property by force. The Bundy family demonstrated just how possible this is, but this does not go far enough. The Bundys still gave credence to the state's legal system, its courts and prosecutors. They are part of this hoax as well, for the same law societies are playing all sides of any courtroom farce, and they do it for the exact same reason: to extract as much of your property as they can for themselves. There is no independent judiciary, and both prosecutor and defense are playing for the same team. The state isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do. And for that reason, it must be left behind to die. Stop letting yourself be tortured by sociopaths. Withdraw your support now. Your life depends on it.